do a show, and then after the show's done, we'll go have some fun.
Do you see anything we can use?
What is up, everybody? What is up? LSU Odyssey live, Friday live. 1 second, I gotta fix all this and adjust all this. Oh, my collar. What's up, everybody? What's up? How you doing? Looks like we got some comments. Looks like we've got some early viewers here. Sometimes the show takes a while for people to get in. Sometimes our start times are unorthodox for streams. I guess the more typical thing for streams is to just be going on all night long. And we will definitely be able to do that soon. We're going to be moving into a new place coming up here. And because of that move, we're going to have more space, a dedicated space, I should say, to podcasting, and my gorgeous Fender Champ 100 amp over here, and selection of guitar effects to wail on and jam on. So that's going to be a very cool thing to look forward to coming up here. Even though moving out sucks, we're gonna have a lot more space and be in a lot better of an area as well. So that's another good thing. How's everybody doing? LSU Odyssey here in the house with your host, Lon Philip Sullivan. Repping the iconic brand. Be iconic or be forgotten, baby. How's everybody doing this weekend? I know LSU are in the Super Regional against West Virginia. And let's see, that's not till tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow, 12 p.m. on ESPN. You can catch that on ESPN Plus, of course. That's going to be a very good series. It's now come down to 16 teams in baseball in the national landscape of college baseball, and LSU are right where they usually are. Right here on the cusp of potentially adding to some more championships here for LSU baseball. Jay Johnson, what a hell of a job he's done. And we're not a baseball show. We're not a baseball website. My dream has always been to become that at some point. My dream is to have somebody cover baseball, somebody who covers football, which would be me, someone who covers women's basketball, someone who could cover softball, even gymnastics, kind of someone who'll cover a few of those miscellaneous sports kind of in one. And then you'd have a dedicated women's basketball person, a dedicated men's baseball person. So that's kind of my dream for LSU Odyssey, is to become something like that in the end, having every LSU sport covered, every wing of LSU athletics covered in depth, in detail. And, that's because it deserves that. I mean, LSU, blue blood in baseball. And people would probably say LSU isn't a blue blood in football and college football. I would argue, if you look at the 21st century, if you add the 21st century, if you add the last 30 years into the scope of who you consider being a blue blood, LSU are there. And I understand the whole being a blue blood thing is that you're traditionally a powerhouse. So is LSU traditionally a powerhouse in college football? Counting the 50s, yes. Win a national championship, nearly play for another, have a Heisman winner, all that stuff. 60s, 70s, most of the 80s, no. LSU far, far, far away from that conversation, not even getting close to a national championship. Only a few times even competing for the SEC during that entire time. A lot of great players, a host of great players during that era who just played for teams that were just not up to snuff. Charles Alexander, who's getting his jersey retired this season, among those from that era. So, you know, LSU, maybe traditionally not a blue blood, you know, college football wise. Baseball, LSU is definitely a blue blood when you're talking about college baseball. Talking about Skip Bertman and what he's done. And we talked about Skip Bertman in, in honor of his birthday last show, where we made sure to reference how much he helped save and how much he, as athletic director at the time, actually helped shape the powerhouse LSU football would become, the blue blood it would become of recent. You know, and that's the thing is, yes, second only to Alabama in 21st century national championships. That means something. Second only to Alabama in national championships won in this century, in this last 25 years. Since the year 2000. That means something. That is extreme, you know, competence. That is extreme greatness. That is extreme legendary players left, right, and center. LSU has dominated the national football landscape because of sending so many great players into the league year after year after year. Whether LSU has competed for national championships or not. Whether LSU has even competed for the SEC or not. So, I mean, you've either got championship seasons, losing in a title game once, a few seasons, you know, getting the SEC title game and falling. Because if we win the SEC title game, it seems like we're winning a national championship. Pretty much every time. But then there is this whole valley of other seasons where LSU aren't even close in the 21st century, even under, you know, Les Miles. There's a few disastrous seasons under Saban. There's a few disastrous seasons under Coach O. A few middling seasons under Brian Kelly, but mostly some strong seasons, some kind of at least consistency under Brian Kelly. But one thing LSU, you can say LSU is, like, known for and part of LSU's DNA. And this was not traditionally. This was not traditionally the case. But you can say now, having a juggernaut offense is something that is almost not expected at LSU. I mean, you can't expect to have a juggernaut offense every single season. It's ridiculous. I'm not saying that. But it is in their DNA to do it and to have a quarterback produce epic, legendary moments, Heisman winning moments. We've done it twice in the last 5 years. We did 2 times in 5 years. We have a chance with Garrett Nussmeier to do it 3 times in 6. And I know that's a tall order for Garrett Nussmeier to pull off. That is a lot of pressure to put on Garrett Nussmeier's shoulders. He is worthy of the pressure. He is deserving of the pressure. And he has earned the moment to prove himself. And you know what? I've got a great feeling about what I'm seeing from this offense, because here's the thing that's evident to me about this team, this team that's coming up here for 2025 LSU. A lot of these players, and we've written extensively about what we're just about to say, and you can find these articles on our website. I think the identity of this team is one of guys who've been through a lot of adversity, guys who've had to overcome big-time injuries, homelessness even, the timing of some of these injuries. They've had to really, their career, their future has been, threatened by some of these problems off the field, these injuries. Of course, Kyron Lacey's tragic suicide. That'll probably, destroy our TV, but our show on the YouTube algorithm or whatever. But who cares? We said the word crap. Unaliving. His unaliving. It's that's going to be that's going to be lingering in the background for this team as well. All throughout everything, no matter what, this is the teammate of these guys, and something like that happened right then in spring. Absolutely horrible. That is going to be something that lingers for this LSU team in the background. But I think it's also going to be a motivating thing for this team too. But the common thread I've seen through a lot of this roster, there's a lot of guys who've overcome adversity, a lot of guys who've waited for their time, a lot of guys who've got doses and little dips of on-field experience. But this is really going to be the time for them to really have that whole enchilada. But then, luckily, through the transfer portal, LSU, Austin Thomas, Brian Kelly went in and got really a lot of top guys, a lot of veteran guys who could come in and play snaps for LSU as be the guy, be the leader by example. A Mansour Delane, a Berrien Brown, and that makes me feel good about the season. But you look at this offense, to me, it seems like unless there is complete ineptitude, there is no way this can't be a juggernaut offense. There is no way you will almost have to try to screw this up for this offense to literally, you can dial up slant plays and get 20 yards with some of these guys. If every player even plays to their average, just their average on paper average, looking at everything across the board, every guy that we've got here, if they just fulfill their average greatness, this should be a fiery, unstoppable offense. But if a guy like Berrien Brown, a guy like Nick Anderson, a guy like Chris Hilton Jr., a guy like Caden Durham at running back, if they have the seasons like you and I expect, if Joe Sloan takes that next step as a play caller, if LSU can figure out the boneheaded bullshit that really screwed up some games for us just because of bullshit going on inside the red zone, whether that was penalties or play calling, just ridiculousness. If you can figure out the red zone misfortunes, maybe just throw it to Trey Green every time. 4 targets, 4 catches, 4 touchdowns for Trey Green inside the red zone. If you have to do that, I don't care. Just finish it in the red zone. If LSU can figure out what's going on in the red zone, if they can organize and really get a cohesive offensive line together, if this offense under Joe Sloan, Cortez Hankton as a co-offensive coordinating team can take that next step play calling wise, take that next step running the football, utilize Alex Atkins to the best of his abilities, this offense could absolutely be a juggernaut, and there should be no way in hell that this offense isn't a juggernaut offense. And by saying that, I'm saying if this offense last year put up 30.5 points, 47th in the country, 435 total yards per game. This offense last year they put up a lot of yards. They did a lot of things right. Getting first downs, converting on third down, scoring inside the red zone, running the football. These were not their specialties. And if LSU can figure those issues out this season, we already know Nussmeier can throw the football all over the yard. And he's got improved far upgraded weapons than he had last year. The only significant loss in the receiving game would have been Kyron Lacy, who was already going to the NFL, was already out of eligibility before his tragic death. You have upgraded in almost every position. Except for offensive line. And that is where the offense, being a juggernaut or not, will be decided. Because even if the issues, the mistakes, the problems don't directly come from the offensive line, if the offensive line is playing like absolute shit, it just weakens the entire offense. It destroys the confidence of the entire offense. It makes guys do things they shouldn't have to because they feel they have to block better or whatever. Like it makes guys feel like they have to do more than they actually should. Football is a game where sometimes doing more can be absolutely screwing your team up because you're not in the right position like you should be doing your job. Watching your alley, watching your lane. And so for me, I just can't see how this offense could be a failure in 2025 unless they just continue making stupid decisions. Play calling, quarterback play on the field inside the red zone. When it matters most, they just kind of whimper in the moment, go out like a lamb, come in like a lion, go out like a lamb, though. Like, that was what was the 2024 offense. But that's because you had Paul Mbanga starting as a freshman, a true freshman. DJ Chester as a redshirt freshman at center, having the worst graded center season of anyone in the SEC conference. You had an offensive line that was really broken apart. Will Campbell was doing things that you've never seen him do, not going from the penalties, but also just getting beaten on plays. Last year was very dysfunctional offensively. There was a lot of great signs, but you couldn't put it all together. And when all you had to do is beat Florida, and you could have gotten to the college football playoff, and then maybe you could have figured out the offense. You figure out the offense like it looked like they had in games like against Baylor, against Oklahoma. Who knows what could have happened last year? Who knows? And you threw away that opportunity because you just couldn't beat 4-5 Florida. Couldn't beat Kalen DeBoer's at Alabama, who just outclassed and demoralized LSU. And that's another thing is, stopping a running quarterback on the defensive side. Just as much as as LSU's offense not wasting key opportunities in the red zone, things like that, finishing drives with touchdowns instead of field goals. Defensively stopping a running quarterback. Like the two biggest things for this team going in next season. Whew. Sorry, guys, we're getting over something. How do you get that out? Jennifer London. What's up, Jen? How you doing? What's up, girl? Jennifer London says the offense was so bad last year, I think because Campbell and Emery were more focused on the NFL, and receivers just ain't good last year. Well, I think the receivers first off, Jen, thank you for watching and thank you for the comment. But first off, I think the offensive line, the injuries made Emery Jones at right tackle and Will Campbell at left tackle. I think they felt like they had to do more because they would see the guard failing. Oh crap, he's already beat. So they would cheat inside to help Mbanga. The guy's coming around your edge already. You thought you handled him, Will. You thought you got him. No, he just completely screwed you, went around the edge. You know, they would take a false step here or there and get completely bamboozled because they were trying to help their guards that were getting overpowered, their center that was not playing too well and was always needing help. I don't think it was necessarily they were focused on the draft. I don't think that really mattered. I think maybe Emery had some feelings about, do I stay, do I go? Maybe, maybe there was some stuff going on there. But other than that, Will was obviously going to go, had to go. I don't think that really mattered. I don't think the draft distracted them. I just think there was play calling mishaps, and then the play calling would be great, but there would be execution problems. And the receivers, yeah, maybe the receivers weren't as good on paper as this receiving core is going to be. But I think there was a lot of missed opportunities with a guy like C.J. Anderson, where that's a guy where you throw the football to him over the middle and you let him make plays after the catch. Same thing with Aaron Anderson. Same thing with Kyron Lacy. We did these 5-yard out routes where the guys would literally run 5 yards and then go all the way wide, clear to the sideline. Nussmeier would have to make a NFL throw to the boundary, barely over coverage. C.J. Anderson makes a great catch, C.J. Daniels makes a great catch, but gets pummeled right at the sticks and gets knocked out of bounds, and it's like a gain of 2 yards. And you almost threw a pick six. Your receiver gets knocked in the chops, has to make a very difficult catch, and what the hell was that for? And now maybe the clock is running. It's the end of a game, too. Point is, what are we doing? Throw the football over the middle. Use Chris Hilton Jr., Aaron Anderson, Barian Brown, Nick Anderson. Use their after-the-catch abilities in space. And how do you do that best? You lead them with the football into space. Slant routes, in routes. Anything that gets them going inside, you're going to toast people on. I'm talking, look at the 2019 offense. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Terrace Marshall. I can show you a billion examples if we were on my laptop, which is broken right now, but you can go and look at these examples yourself. A million examples where Burrow literally snaps the ball and just bullets it. It doesn't even look like Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson ran a route. It was literally like snap, and then they just kind of like the ball just came to them. Just release, boom. And then they're already making a move. They're already like 20 yards down the field. I'm not saying do that every play or something like that, but you can work these defenses with the short passing game over the middle. LSU's defenses, secondaries haven't been able to cover the short passing game over the middle for 5 years now. How come our offense hasn't been running it with those kind of receivers? Even Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., a lot of the success there was downfield. Malik, yeah, he worked the short game, a lot of the stuff, Mason Taylor sometimes, but it really wasn't as much as you saw with 2019 offense. There was a lot more deep passing with 2023's offense with Jaden Daniels. But really, you have a chance here with Garrett Nussmeier and that arm, the way he can lead receivers into space, the way the mastery of kind of that distribution from the quarterback's perspective. You could really run teams just track meet teams off the field with this type of offense, especially with the skill to position guys we've got. Barian Brown, Nick Anderson, Destin Hill's another name I just forgot to include. Kyle Parker started games last year for this team before hurting his shoulder, knocked out for the season. Sadly, another season-ending injury news that we broke here last year. Sad to do that, but if you were a viewer of LSU Odyssey, you heard of that first. And that's another thing. The team just simply has to avoid injuries, or none of this is even going to matter. But really, if this offense wants to be a juggernaut, Joe Sloan has to throw the football inside. If he doesn't throw the football inside, if we can't finish in the red zone, if we can't figure out our offensive line play, if we can't at least alleviate some of the pressure on Garrett Nussmeier by running the football, then there's no point in talking about it being a juggernaut offense. If Chris Hilton Jr. can't stay healthy, if Nick Anderson for another year can't stay healthy as well, if Garrett Nussmeier is getting throttled back there, you did get a great backup quarterback in Michael Van Buren. Such a great upgrade for the backup quarterback position. Cullen Hurley is back from injury. Juwan Johnson gives you that wildcat backfield threat that you've tried out here and there in spring, and he's looked awesome. LSU have options to really directly alleviate that pressure on Garrett Nussmeier by getting him off the field for a few plays even. You can do that and still score with the football. We've seen that with Xavier Thomas last year with the direct snap he took against UCLA. Garrett Nussmeier is still on the field, but Xavier Thomas took that direct snap and scored a rare red zone touchdown and a rare opening drive touchdown for LSU last year. And you saw that type of a play package with Xavier Thomas in the spring. So, Jen, I don't think we should even discuss Will Campbell and Emory Jones being like at LSU or that they left LSU anymore, because they're not there. It sucks that they left. They had another year of eligibility. It sucks, but they did. We have to focus on who is there. The Braylon Moores of the world, the Josh Thompsons of the world, DJ Chester, hopefully coming into his own here after a very surprisingly good spring. Young Carius Kern, young Solomon Thomas, how much are they going to contribute? Paul Mubenga, is he going to take a step in the right direction? Is Tyree Adams a worthy left tackle? Is he going to be that blindside man who's going to really shield Garrett Nussmeier, where Garrett Nussmeier doesn't have to worry about it in pass pro like he didn't last year? There were some savage hits on Nussmeier, especially with the injuries, and the offensive line did not play up to snuff even when they were fully healthy with Garrett Dellinger in there. But pass pro numbers are still ridiculous because a lot of it was short passing game. But for how many of the drop back passing plays, there was actually a lot of hits and sacks Nuss sustained last year. I mean, this is a dude who almost got knocked out of the Nicholls State game. Was literally limping off the field against Nicholls State, okay? 2 games into the season. And we just lost our starting defensive tackle for the season. And we're forced to play rookies at that position for the rest of the season. Injuries can happen at any time, anywhere, and we can't just take it for granted that, hey, Whit Weeks is back, he's going to be fine, just throw him out there. Harold Perkins is back, he's fine, just throw him out there. Jordan Gilbert's shoulder should be fine. Just throw him out there. These guys, maybe we need to limit their snaps if they're going to start first. If Gilbert's going to be one of those safeties back there, his snaps need to be limited at first. I know you're playing against Clemson. I understand. But if you can get through that, you have to limit their snaps over the next few weeks until Florida. And then it's going to have to be all go from there. But that week 2 game, you really have to limit some snaps on some of those guys who are coming back from injuries. Jacoby Guillory coming back from an Achilles. What condition will he be in? Big questions. Jennifer London says Sloan was bad at red zone play calling. From from your lips to God's ears. What's up, Bud? How you doing, brother? Bud Elliott, Bud Elliott. I need a cough drop. Bud Elliott. Gostin Hannibal says, excellent article this morning. Thanks, man. We wrote about the same topic we're talking about now. Can this LSU offense be a juggernaut offense? Is this offense capable of taking not just that next step from 2024, but really turning the damn page from 2024 completely, because that was so bad? They've got to figure something out. And I think I think there's literally zero excuse for them not to have a dynamic offense this year that can really, if they're not the number one offense in the country, they got to at least be in that top 5. You've got to be a great offense this year. You have every tool. There is no excuse to not be a great offense this year. No excuse. No freaking excuse. And it wouldn't just be on Joe Sloan. It'd be on everybody. But we'll see what transpires, of course. Gostin Hannibal says, I think they will be grade A. Bruce Douglas says, stop glazing Nuss. Oh, sorry, man. I think there's a lot of Nuss haters out there. You know, the Blake Ruffinos of the world, the Bryce Coons of the world. They think Nuss isn't capable of delivering in this season. They want a running quarterback every single season, and if we don't have a running quarterback, they're just not good. And I think it's a little short-sighted. And Nussmeier, sure, he has to run the football more. He has to take those chunks of spaces, huge 15, 20-yard chunks of spaces. He could have run it in a few times. When you go back and look at the film against USC, he could have run it in a few of these times. And we've seen Nuss run. He can chew up those yards. He can get 10, 15 yards. He's not, Jaden Daniels or something, but he's fast. He's faster than you would expect. He's fast for a pocket passing, white dude. And I just think that's another aspect that has to help in the running game, has to help in the offense. Garrett Nussmeier has to tuck it a few times and just go for it and chew up yards, make the defense pay, and make the defense honest. Keep the defense honest, because if they have to keep a guy on Garrett Nussmeier to make sure that he doesn't, tuck it and run, imagine how much more we can do offensively. Because we were handicapped because of that last year. But Bruce, I really do think if Nuss can overcome some of the, I trust my arm so much, I'm gonna attempt the craziest throw ever, even though it's 2nd and 10 with 2 minutes left on the opponent's own 32-yard line. We've got plenty of time, 3 timeouts. You don't need to force it type of a situation. Like, I understand. But as long as Nussmeier avoids that type of crap, like, he should have a Heisman finalist season at his lowest, because he's going to put up the numbers. Is he going to win those games for LSU in the meat of the schedule, in the biggest moments for LSU against Clemson, against Florida in week 3, against Alabama, A&M again? You know, these games are going to be really a test to Garrett Nussmeier and what he's made of. And we already know what he's made of. We don't have to question this kid. He's proven his toughness. He's proven his mental strength, his character to LSU fans over and over and over and over and over. But he's got to do it again as like, I can be a championship quarterback here. That's the last thing. He's proven everything there is to prove at LSU. There's one thing he has to prove. One thing last that he has to prove. That you can win with me. I am your dog. I know we can win with Nuss. And in fact, if we don't win with Nuss this season, it isn't an indictment of Garrett Nussmeier. It will be an indictment of that coaching staff. And I'm sure it will be because of some catastrophic injuries once again. And I'm sure it will be because of a defense that just seemingly cannot get out of its own way. But I can't see that happening. Can you? I can't see Blake Baker having Blake Baker who improves every single year, every single defense he's ever coached. There's no way there's no way this defense gets worse than last year. So if this defense is even just in the 50s, 60s, 70s of rankings with a juggernaut offense, we can win a championship. That can be possible. Hermlode says, if Nuss ain't good this year, take the next step. It's all on Sloan and BK. It could also be on Nuss, too. I mean, or is there just no personal accountability? Like, I mean, if Nuss leads the SEC in interceptions again, and it's not while he's throwing like 60 touchdowns or something, like, then, yeah, that is on him. Mark Romanowski says, no excuses. Nope, no excuses, bro. Nope. No excuses that I know. That Alice in Chains song. Oh, I love that song. Everybody, thank you for watching. Check out the article on LSUOdyssey.com. The article is right there on the homepage. And if you find your way to the content home, it's just right there on the content home. Like, subscribe, share. Help us fight the algorithm man. Help us fight the algorithm man that tries to keep us down. Everyone, have a wonderful weekend. Do not get sick. Whatever virus is going around is just terrible and never ending. This is the second week I've had symptoms, but luckily I haven't felt sick for a few days. I've been like over it. My God, this thing just never ends. So don't get sick. LSU is going to kick some West Virginia ass like we always do. Check out the article. Give me your opinion. Tell me if this is possible. Tell me if Joe Sloan's the guy or if you just don't think he is the guy. Tell me if you think Nuss is going to be able to take that next step, win a Heisman. Or are we glazing Nuss as who said that? As Bruce said we were. So drop us a line and tell us that. Everybody, have a good rest of your Friday. This is LSUOdyssey.com Friday Live. Thank you to Louis Corona, my man, my brother. Sweet Lou. It is an honor to write for you, my bro. Have a good weekend, man. Jamer. What's up, Jamer, if you're watching? IconicBrand.com. Wear it, rep it, enjoy it. IconicBrand.com, everybody. IconicBrand.com. Have a good night, everybody. I'm going to go take Sage on a bike ride.